If you finally stop taking prednisone or you're almost there, you're asking one question. When will my adrenal glands actually recover? When will they start working again? You might have asked your doctor and got a shrug. Maybe you got, it depends. Maybe you got no response at all. And you've been living in that uncertainty ever since. This isn't a question that the doctors are dodging because they don't care. It's a question that the research could not answer until recently. But the answer exists now, and you deserve to know it. I'm Dr. Megan, the Prednisone Pharmacist. I'm a board-certified doctor of pharmacy and third-generation pharmacist, and I've personally taken prednisone myself. So I get this question from both sides of the prescription pad. So in this video, we'll cover the actual research-backed recovery timeline that most doctors haven't seen yet. The 5 factors that determine how fast your adrenal system comes back. How to know whether your adrenals are recovering, and then what to do if they're not. Here's the roadmap so you can see where we're going. So your adrenal glands are your body's cortisol factory. Every day on a reliable schedule, they produce cortisol, the hormone that regulates your energy, your immune system, your blood sugar, blood pressure, and your ability to handle stress. You cannot live without cortisol. And when you take prednisone, which is a synthetic or fake version of cortisol, your brain receives a signal. Cortisol is covered. The factory doesn't need to run. So it shuts the production line down. This is called adrenal suppression. And it happens to virtually everyone who even takes 1 dose of prednisone. It's not a malfunction. It's your body's completely logical response to an outside supply. It's following the rules that nature set up for it. When there's too much, stop making it. The problem is what happens when the outside supply stops. The factory has to wake back up, and it doesn't do it overnight. The full chain, your hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and your adrenal glands all have to relearn how to communicate again. They have to coordinate again. The messengers have to be sent. You have to send somebody to China to get the supplies, right? And your recovery depends on 5 things. There are 5 factors that determine how quickly your adrenal system comes back. And I call them the 5 Ds. D number 1 is dose. The higher the dose of prednisone you were on, the more completely adrenal suppression happened. The more completely the adrenal factory shuts down. And the longer the restart takes. A short burst at 60 milligrams looks very different to your adrenal glands than 2 years at 5 to 10 milligrams. Higher doses mean deeper suppression, and deeper suppression means a longer road back. I once personally took the equivalent of 250 milligrams of prednisone. That was awful. So D number 2 is duration. How long the factory has been shut down and been closed up matters just as much as how hard it closed. If a factory is closed, the stuff inside starts rusting, right? Everything gets dusty. Maybe some punk teens threw something in the windows and broke the glass. The longer that we've been taking prednisone, the more completely the adrenal axis goes quiet. This is partly one of the reasons why PMR patients, who are often on prednisone for 1 to 3 years or longer, tend to face longer recovery timelines than patients who just took a short course. The 3rd D is DNA. This one might surprise you. It definitely surprised me when I read this quote in this textbook. And this textbook is called Congenital Adrenal Hyperplasia, A Comprehensive Guide by Heinmarsh and Geertzma. And it says, cortisol regulates over 2/3 of human genes. 2/3, not 2/3 of adrenal function, 2/3 of human genes. I was blown away when I read that. So prednisone mimics cortisol, which means that while you've been on prednisone, it has been influencing gene expression across virtually your entire body, including the genes involved in how your adrenal axis functions and recovers, how your particular genes respond to that influence, and how quickly they calibrate when the prednisone stops. That is partly individual. It's written into your biology. And it is one of the core reasons that 2 people can take the exact same dose for the exact same duration and have completely different recovery timelines. If your recovery feels slower than someone else's, it's not in your head. It may genuinely be in your genes. D number 4 is delivery. The route of administration, basically how the steroid got into your body, affects your adrenal risk. Oral prednisone, the pills, the tablets, the capsules, and joint injections carry the highest risk of adrenal suppression. But here's what some doctors have a hard time believing, and most patients have no idea of, is that there is no route with zero risk. Steroid inhalers, nasal sprays, eye drops, skin creams, all of them count and add up. If you used any form of steroid, it belongs in this conversation with your doctor. D number 5 is depletion. This is the D that I didn't really understand when I was taking prednisone, but it matters the most for recovery. Prednisone doesn't just shut the factory down. While you've been taking prednisone has been quietly draining the resources needed to run the factory. Your adrenal glands need vitamin C, the spark that fires up cortisol production, B vitamins, the workers on the production line, magnesium, the machinery that keeps the system running, and vitamin D, the condition of the facility itself. Prednisone depletes all 4. So the entire time the factory has been shut down, the medication shutting it down has also been draining the resources that it needs to come back online. This is documented pharmacology and means that recovery isn't just about time. It's also about whether your body even has what it needs to actually do the work of building your adrenal glands back up again. Before I get into exactly how to test whether your adrenals are recovering, I want to make sure that you have access to something right now. A lot of prednisone warriors who come to this video are stuck in what I call the taper trap. It's the cycle where every time you try to reduce your dose, the symptoms come back and you can't figure out why. If that's you, it's likely connected to the 5 Ds I just described. I created a free quiz. What's your number 1 prednisone mistake? And it helps you identify exactly where in the prednisone journey you are struggling the most. It takes about 2 minutes, and a lot of people find their result describes their situation more specifically than anything their doctor has said. Click the first link in the description to take it now, or the QR code is on your screen, or just go to predquiz.com. Now here's the numbers you came here for. Researchers reviewed the available evidence on how many patients still have adrenal insufficiency after stopping prednisone. Here's what they found. At 6 months after stopping, up to 40% of patients still have some level of adrenal insufficiency. When I read that, I was like, is that a typo? 40? 40%? Not 4, but 40? That's not a typo. At 2 years after stopping prednisone, about 20% have still not fully recovered. Wow. And then when they tested 3 years after stopping, about 5% still show signs of adrenal suppression. So yes, for the majority of people, recovery does happen, but it's slow. And for a meaningful number of people, it takes years, not weeks. My own experience lines up with this. I took prednisone for 9 months. It took roughly another 9 months before I felt like myself again. The research matches what I personally lived through. So how do you actually know whether your adrenal glands are actually recovering? There are 2 things to track: your symptoms and testing. You need both because each one tells you something the other can't. The symptoms of low cortisol. When your adrenal glands aren't producing enough cortisol, you may feel bone deep exhaustion, not just tired, nausea and loss of appetite, dizziness when you stand up quickly, low sodium, muscle weakness, anxiety or other mood changes, sleep disturbances. But the problem is that a lot of those symptoms are non-specific and overlap with a lot of different things. They overlap with prednisone withdrawal symptoms. Both can cause fatigue, nausea, muscle pain, joint pain, headache. Feeling bad after you stop prednisone doesn't automatically mean that your adrenals aren't recovering, but it is a signal to talk to your doctor and not wait it out alone. Now, if your symptoms are severe, cardiovascular symptoms, very low blood sugar, difficulty staying conscious, or a crisis level response to a mild physical stress, this is an emergency. Go straight to the emergency room. Adrenal crisis is life-threatening. And this is the exact situation that justifies emergency care. This is where testing comes in. I've put together a simple decision guide based on the Endocrine Society guidelines to help you figure out whether and when to test. Let me walk you through it. So first, you need to ask, is your disease still active? Meaning, are you still taking prednisone to control the disease itself? If yes, hold off. Stop here. You're done. The cortisol test won't give you any useful information while prednisone is still in your system and needed. But if your disease is under control and you're down to 4 to 6 milligrams or less, that's the window where testing makes sense. Your adrenal glands should be trying to wake up at this time, and a morning cortisol test can tell you whether or not they are. You do the test at home between 8 and 9 in the morning when natural cortisol is at its highest, using a simple finger prick blood test that you just mail in. And then when you get the results, here's how you read it. If you get above 300 nanograms per liter, which is the equivalent of 10 micrograms per deciliter, adrenal recovery is likely. Your system is waking up. If you're between 150 and 300, which is 5 to 10 micrograms per deciliter, this is the gray zone. Your doctor needs to know. You may need further evaluation. And then if you're below 150 nanomoles per liter, which is 5 micrograms per deciliter, adrenal insufficiency is likely. This needs medical attention. You should tell your doctor as soon as possible. These thresholds come from the Endocrine Society guidelines. Your doctor or your lab may use slightly different cutoffs and reference ranges depending on the lab, so always discuss your result with them. But now you kind of know what the numbers mean, and you can have that conversation as an informed patient. So after taking prednisone myself and researching adrenal recovery extensively, I put together what I call the Cortisol Clarity Kit. It combines at-home early morning cortisol testing, that test kit I just described, with Nutrinize Zone, the supplement I designed specifically for people on prednisone. The test tells you where your adrenal glands stand. Nutrinize Zone gives them what they need to do the work of recovering. The spark, the workers, the machinery, the facility. Together, they address both sides of the recovery question. Where are you, and what does your body need to get there? The link is in the description, and the QR code is on your screen right now. So if your test comes back in the gray zone or below, or your symptoms are making life unmanageable, here's what to do. First, see an endocrinologist. Your rheumatologist or primary care doctor is the right starting point, but an endocrinologist specializes in hormones and adrenal function. They don't really want to see you until you've gotten to this point, though. They can run more sophisticated testing and manage replacement therapy if needed. Second, discuss stress dosing. Even during recovery, your body may not yet produce enough cortisol to handle a major physical stressor, surgery, a serious illness, a significant injury. Make sure your doctor knows that you're in this recovery window, and make sure any other provider treating you knows too. You can ask whether you need a medical alert bracelet. Third, resupply the factory. Your adrenal glands need specific nutrients to produce cortisol, and prednisone has been depleting them the entire time you've been on it. Think proactively about what you're doing to replenish the nutrients that prednisone took. That's one of the core reasons I created Nutrinize Zone, to make that replenishment targeted and specific and not guesswork. And fourth, give it time. Recovery is happening even when it doesn't feel like it. The research says most people eventually do get there. Your body wants to come back into balance. Give it the support that it needs. For most prednisone warriors, the adrenal system does recover. It takes time, sometimes a long time, but it comes back. Yet there's something this video hasn't covered yet, and it matters. For some people, glucocorticoid-induced adrenal insufficiency is permanent. Their adrenal glands don't fully recover. They truly do need long-term hormone replacement. For those people, adrenal insufficiency is not a temporary side effect of prednisone. It is an irreversible one, which raises the question, are there other prednisone side effects that don't reverse once you stop? The answer is yes. There are other permanent, irreversible side effects to prednisone, and you deserve to know what they are, and that's exactly what my next video is about. Click here to watch it now.